From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, welcoming each and every one of you to showing up tonight. Really appreciate you taking the time. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio, Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including reading up on the SOR Newswire, put together by our news director, Captain Shirk. It's really good stuff. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com. Don't forget to use promo code SOR2019 today. The first Tuesday of every month, we look to find our Zen, our Chi, and throw in a little bit of aliens because Geraldine Orozco is back for the Spiritual You. Geraldine's from Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California, considered one of the top practitioners in the field of spiritual growth on the West Coast. Geraldine started her journey just a few years ago, leaving the corporate world to pursue a career in helping those in need for spiritual release and healing. Her websites are bayareameditation.com as well as geraldineorozco.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. The lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco. Good to have you back on the show, my friend. How are you?
Hi, Dave. It's so great to be here. I mean, missed you guys for a whole month. How has your month been?
So far, so good. It's been very, very cool. And, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, I'm starting to enjoy myself. I feel this new bout of energy just absolutely coming in. And I don't know what it is. I had a pretty good weekend outside of, unfortunately, having to make a change on our weekend show, which sucked for me. But it happens. You got to make, you know, you've been a businesswoman a long time. Things have to happen. And so there was a little bit of turmoil, but for the most part, I did something that I haven't done in a while, and I'm paying the price for it right now. I went ATVing for the first time in 6 years. And the last time I ATV'd, I almost died. And I was a little freaked out, but I forgot what a workout it is. I really did forget what a workout it is. So the past 2 days, I have been feeling muscles that I haven't used in a long time, and they are aching, and they are saying thank you. So I'm walking a little slower, but it's all good.
Wow, that sounds like fun. Where'd you go to do that?
In my area, there's a bunch of ATV trails, and we probably went on a, I'm going to say, round trip, probably 18, 19 miles.
Wow, that's a long time. That sounds like fun, though. I'm glad you had a blast. Yeah.
Have you ever been on an ATV?
I have not. I have yet to try that. Sounds like a blast.
You got to try it. You got to try it. It's a little bit of freedom even though you got your helmet on. Even though you got your helmet on, the wind coming across your body, it just feels great when it's a warm, warm day. So it's all good. It is absolutely all good. So let's learn a little bit about you, because we always have new listeners coming on in and checking things out. You are from San Francisco, California. You've been doing this show now for, I believe, about 18, 19 months now already. You know that.
It's amazing how time flies. I can't believe it's already been 19 months.
I know, right?
Been so great doing this. Yeah, I really love, and my favorite part is connecting with the audience and answering their questions, because I love that we can, see what the pulse is. What are people thinking about? What are they learning? What are they questioning? What are they trying to work on? And it's just such a gift to be able to do that.
Well, and that kind of brings out a big, big question, because, you come on this show, you've been on other podcasts as well, where you kind of express the message of everything that is going on, trying to make everything good with the message and how people can enhance themselves. How important is it for somebody like you to get that message out?
Well, it's important, but more than it is, because there's a couple ways you can look at that. I mean, and in my own journey, it's been a really interesting kind of transformation. I mean, when I had my very, very deep awakening in 2013, it kind of was a process. It was a process where I went through existential crises, even after I had my regression, and I was seeing all this information about our ancient histories and bloodlines and ascension and the journey of the soul. I mean, you got to understand that even though I was in a spiritual realm working, meditating, teaching meditation, the depth of information that I had access to through the regressions was something that was just, I mean, I was not prepared for that. So I really had to have every aspect of my reality questioned, and that kind of put me through this cycle of, it was a deep, deep opening and dark night of the soul, I guess you could say. So for me, after going through that and realizing how isolating, how lonely, how very sometimes traumatizing and painful those experiences can be, ourselves as humans that have an ego that want to hold on to certain identities of who we believe we were and what we thought this reality was, it's really hard to let that go. So I think what happened is that it kind of made me see the kind of support that I could provide as someone that had gone through that and kind of made it through to a point where I found some integration in my life. And that's why it's so important to share it with people, because to be of any support on any level of that journey is something that I would have really loved during that time. And even though there's a lot of people coming up now that are giving this information, I mean, it's valuable. And, different people can speak to different minds. People need different, sometimes people want to hear the message a certain way, sometimes they'll accept it another way. And there's one, I guess, a teacher for each group. So for my personal journey, which involved, the hybridization program and a lot of interesting information about the ET contact, I guess for me, my job is to merge spirituality and ET contact. And wherever I can find that bridge there to help those that are experiencing that, bridge the gap, that's what I'm here to do. So for me, it's really important to be of service in any way possible, whether it's the spiritual journey, the meditation, or, the ET contact, and maybe shed some light on that.
I want to ask you this because, Geraldine, you are somebody who has a very distinct message on what you're trying to get through to the public and in helping one try and improve themselves, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through yoga, pranic healing, going through ET contacts and the therapy that goes through that. You deal with a lot of different topics. There are so many different podcasts and shows out there, and I don't want to sound like I'm throwing any of them under the bus because I think the more the messages are out there, the better. But how does someone who is new to this and is looking for their own answers find for you the right type of podcast or right type of information they are looking for when everybody's message is so darn different?
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's kind of where we as a human race, we got to learn what discernment is, And I think, to be honest, the best teacher, and especially in my journey, has been myself, has been going really deep inside and finding the answers inside of me. And for a very long time, Dave, I mean, I didn't want to hear anybody else's interview, didn't want to listen to any movies or any kind of lectures of any kind, because the level of understanding that I reached through my own experience was very, very powerful, very interesting. And how I got there was through a really deep purification of mind and body. I mean, I had been meditating for, hours in a day and just making it a point that I was going to basically apply what I had learned. All of the spiritual lessons that I've learned since my very early awakening up until now, I was going to actually apply them. That was the challenge that I gave myself. And I think that when you start doing that, then when you experience actually what you're learning, then you can easily understand things on a much deeper level. So when you start hearing other people talk about their experiences and their things, you start picking up the things that really do resonate with you, that you need, your missing pieces. And it's not so much as who you're listening to, but it's how you're listening to these podcasts and these interviews. You know, from a point of observation, you're observing yourself, your own experience, and taking into account any value that you may receive from those interviews. And that's kind of the way that I kind of suggest anyone to listen to these things, because you're right. Not only is there so much vast information out there, but we're living in a multidimensional reality with actually existing multiple timelines. So there can be very many perspectives to one thing. And even though one person experiences one thing, another person experiences another, the basic laws of creation are going to be nature and the natural balance. So discernment is coming from a place of seeing what is the whole, the most whole way of looking at something. And for me, that's what I look for when I hear someone message or when I listen to a podcast or something. I try to find the most whole and complete perspective. And if it doesn't feel so whole and more complete and more balanced and more natural, then I kind of tend to shy away from it to look at something else that will resonate more with me.
All right. Well, let me flip the coin here for a second here, because I believe in the discernment and everything you are saying, and I think that's great sage advice for people out there who are looking for their answers to finding their own spiritual path. But there's also a lot of dangerous paths out there. I know someone very, very close to me. She decided that she wanted to open up on a spiritual level, and be after a couple of paranormal experiences, and she decided to choose someone who really looked at things from the dark side. Everything to my friend now became a demon or evil or bastard spirits, if you want to use that term, and it became very difficult, and it put a lot of strain on our friendship. I had to eliminate her from my ghost tour that I do up here, because here she is telling all of our patrons who are coming for a good time that, you know, there's a bunch of demons in this place and you don't want to go in there, you'll get attacked and harmed and all of this. Like, I really watched the change in her. And when you have so many different messages out there for somebody who is extremely naive or just unknowing, how do you try and guide them, or what should they be listening for as maybe red flags that they're getting the wrong information?
Yeah, and that's a really great example, because I've seen that too, Dave. I've seen that recently, and it seems like the more information that comes out, people tend to want to shelter themselves under one way of thinking, which they believe is going to be the most protective or something that will assist them. And what's happening there are a couple of key terms. I mean, I use the word protective because a lot of these belief systems that, once again, are not coming from a more balanced perspective. Clearly, just by listening to this description of how you described this woman's experience and how she's experiencing things, you can see that she is looking at things from a negative perspective, maybe lower way of looking at things, more. And all of these kinds of ways of thinking and perceiving things from a more negative perspective, a way of feeling that you need to be more protective and everything is evil and dark. And even though that is a true thing, there is darkness in our reality, and it's something that we have to be very real about and understand, learn to discern that and respect it just as much as we see the light. But again, anytime the perspective starts coming out of balance and we start looking at things all in black or all in white, that's when you can start to question where the balance is missing. And so that person needs to take a look at both perspectives. Okay, so if she's so great at looking at the dark, that's wonderful. Maybe her human organism requires her to experience this dark, to really acknowledge, to see the darkness in our reality. But just as much, she needs to look at the light, and she needs to see how to balance those perspectives. You see, we live in this reality where there's duality. There's light and there's dark, and we need to find our balance and our integration within those two opposites. The human body that's out of alignment with one is going to become sick, is coming into a state of fear, is entering those lower places, is going to be feeling imbalanced, insecure, and fearful. And so that's not good for her. You can imagine her state of being that's constantly identifying evil and negative things all the time. The constant program on the subconscious level is coming from a place of protection and fear and having to always make sure that she's, not being in contact with these things. And again, that's an imbalance in perception. So, there has to be some accountability. We really need to question our beliefs. We need to take a look at where we are focusing our attention. If it's always in dark, then you're going to attract more dark. That's just the law of how things function in this reality. So to answer that question in the quickest way possible, it's the balance. We need to find integration between two things, the light and the dark. Not everything is going to be dark. And again, your perception of how you believe things, if you believe everything is dark, that's exactly what you're going to be seeing. That's what you're going to be experiencing. Now, I also want to take this to another level. From the highest level, Dave, really, all of us are just consciousness becoming aware of ourselves. And some of us, at this time, we're experiencing darkness. We need to learn it. We need to understand it. And there's nothing wrong with that. As long as that person is consciously aware that they are experiencing and observing that at their own will. Okay? Anytime that the body starts to go into a state of, oh, okay, well, now I'm going to experience this darkness, and then that's it. That's the finite. I don't want to go anywhere near the light. Then that person is going to go into a little bit deeper state, out of balance in their stasis. They're going to go into I've seen some clients go into places where they start to attract entities themselves and have attachments, and then they have these walk-ins and projections and dual souls. And so this is what happens when an organism is out of balance. So they need to be able to observe, experience, and then come back to a middle way. We talk a lot about that middle way. So that's just a way of looking at it. Now, there's nothing wrong. That person, maybe they want to experience that darkness, but all within the lines of pure consciousness and free will.
And that's where it comes from, though. Does that come from the soul? Does that come from the heart? Does it come from the mind?
I mean, our mind is basically the physical engine that's running this human body. The soul is basically the higher level program that is recording all of the experiences that the mind is experiencing on the physical level. So, there's levels to how this organism is experiencing this. We live in a dualistic reality where all of us are experiencing both ranges. We're experiencing light and dark. So it's really up to us how we do that. The only problem is that right now we are living in something of a matrix where we are projecting into our reality everything that we believe. So if we place ourselves in education or around people that are teaching us that everything is dark, that everything is in the darkness, then of course our core belief systems are going to be based on that. And that's not a complete way of looking at life. It's actually an imbalanced way of looking at things. So that has to kind of change. It has to come back into middle ground. And it can change at any time. Therefore, it's not the soul. The soul is just kind of what is recording all the experiences that the human body is experiencing. Now, as you know, we have contractual agreements that we take in when we incarnate in the physical body. So sometimes, these kinds of programs that we're here to learn are to experience the dark, but to also, at some point, transcend the dark and find balance. So for all of us, we are experiencing a journey to understand what is the most healthy, the most balanced way of living as a human organism. And we may find different ways of doing that. We can do it through, our religion, our experiences, the way we lead our life. All of those things are going to be a part of what create our perception as a whole. So if this person, chooses to experience these things, it can be a number of things. It can be attachment. It can be something that's coming in to experience through her, and that means that she's not aware. She's not really conscious of that experience. So there has to be, again, a level of awareness for the person to become aware of why they are looking to experience life through a darker way, or maybe a lighter way. There's many different ways of experiencing something. And all of this is recorded. Again, on the very highest level, there is no right or wrong. It's consciousness becoming aware of itself through all of these possible experiences.
I have a special visitor in the studio here. Mrs. SOR would love to say hello to you.
How wonderful. Hello, Mrs. SOR. I am so happy to finally meet you.
Well, it's nice to meet you on air as well.
How are you doing? How's everything with you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you very much for asking.
We just had a long weekend up here, so she went away to visit some family and friends while she made me slave away at home, and I had to work. Mm-hmm. I had to mow the lawn. I washed the floors. I did all the laundry and folded it even, did all the dishes, cleaned the kitchen, and she left me with a bag of chips to eat. No, I'm teasing.
Oh, really?
He has such a rough life.
He does, doesn't he? Well, oh my God, I'm sure he has it so good with you. And I've heard so many wonderful things about you. I can't wait to meet you, Miss SOR, hopefully soon.
That would be awesome.
She wants to come up in the winter when it's like minus 30 degrees Celsius.
Mm-hmm. Not so much, but, we'll plan something. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for the special guest.
Oh, that was such a special gift. Thanks for that, Dave.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. But we only got about a minute here before we need to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Geraldine Orozco is our guest. And Geraldine, with people who are struggling in finding their own spirituality and not knowing the path that they should take, in about 35, 40 seconds, can you break down maybe a couple or one or two quick red flags that somebody should look out for?
Sure. Always, so make sure you're looking at both sides of it, okay? Look at, when you're looking at an ideal, take a look at the darkest side and the lightest perspective of it. Find middle ground. Find the integration. Find the one that makes your organism come into the best, most expansive way of being, the healthiest way of being, feeling. And if those, ideals or something are not aligning with you, use your intuition, then don't, you need to get out of there. Get out of there right away. And another thing I would say is, listen to everything from the perspective of an observer, okay? Don't take anything as a part of you 100%. Just observe it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Geraldine Orozco, The Spiritual You, continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology: Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Reminder to all of you that you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we got a plethora of features for you. More coming down the pipe as well. You can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. It's the first Tuesday of the month, which means it's time for Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California, and The Spiritual You. Geraldine has been with us, I'm going to say coming up on 2 years now doing this. And every month that we have her on, I just learn something different, and I appreciate that. Geraldine, welcome back.
Hi, Dave.
No problem. Love having you here. Geraldine, right before the break, we were talking about red flags on people finding the right message to fit their own spirituality. Now, I want to shift it a little bit, because the one thing that I have learned, and I have not done a good job on, okay, is trying to improve my spiritual side with my physical side, okay? And I remember when I started going down the rabbit hole and started opening up and getting more into my Zen and my Chi, I remember kind of starting to eat healthier and take better care of my body. I was exercising more. But I couldn't give up bacon. I refused to give up bacon. Refused. But the
I think we had that conversation once, but yes. It almost literally, everyone, Geraldine and I almost dropped the gloves. She even took her 17-inch stiletto heels off, okay, and came down to my level, and literally we were going to go. We were going to go over bacon. But nonetheless, what I did notice, though, is that I'm not combining my inner self with my outer self. And I think a lot of people have that issue, because I look at myself today, and I'm a solid 5.4 out of 10 on the male rating scale. I think I moved up from 5.2 to 5.4 because of the hair. All right. And the point that I'm getting at is I don't feel good on my outside, which affects my inside. How can we combine the spirituality of what we learn on the inside and where we want to go on the inside to help ourselves, and combine it properly with the outside body, the shell that we carry? That's such a great question. And I got to tell you, for someone to get to a point where they're integrating the inside and the outside, it is a wonderful journey, and it is a hard journey, because you are applying all of the wisdom that you have learned, everything, and applying it to who you are. But the question is, what will motivate you? What will make it worth your time and your energy and your effort to apply that wisdom? And really, the answer to that is how much you believe that you are worthy. So really what it comes down to is how you see yourself as an individual, as an organism, not just from the outside. The problem is that we look to the outside to provide for all of that fulfillment, for all of that acknowledgement, for all of that joy. And all of us have different programs running in the back end that are kind of motivating us to act a certain way, to be a certain way. And when we don't get what we expect out of those behaviors and those expectations, it falls flat. We become disappointed. There's a lot of deception that occurs there. And so we fall into these spirals where, even though we hear all this wonderful information, when it actually comes to time to apply it and to work it and to live it, we're very disillusioned with the fact that we feel that we cannot achieve those expectations that we've heard that we should achieve or that we expected from ourselves. So in this journey of spiritual integration, the number one thing that we need to focus on is having a really deep, compassionate view and connection with ourselves. I mean, we really need to be compassionate with ourselves. There is a separation between our human self and the spiritual self. And I think we make a mistake in the spiritual community where we put spiritual quote-unquote gurus or people that claim to know more on pedestals, and we want to see them. We see them as these gods that have finally achieved something, but in reality, they're just as human as everyone else. All of us are struggling the exact same lessons and experiences. And we need to start erasing that illusion of separation that we have between ourselves and the spiritual self. And once we do that, it's going to really help us not put so much pressure on the idealism, a false idealism of what spirituality really is. Because, and when you do that, what you're going to end up with is a really clear acknowledgement of you yourself as a human. And the human has, like we spoke of earlier, it has the light, it has the dark. It has two sides of us. Right. I mean, some parts of us, we have a bad day, so we play out on that, we end up expressing ourselves in a negative way. And we have to start noticing where we are expressing ourselves in less compassionate ways. The ultimate key to integration of the many fragments of ourselves, whether it's your spiritual self or your angry self or maybe even the alcoholic self or the aspect of yourself that is, feeling like you're insecure or worthless, is to start to feel an unconditional love for yourself. And that unconditional love allows you to begin to be compassionate with the parts of yourself that you so desperately want to separate and neglect and destroy. You see, when you understand that it's not something that is separate from you, it is a part of you, you can begin to just ease it into your everyday. And you're not looking at the dark parts of yourself or the parts that don't achieve something as something bad. You just watch yourself, you observe yourself, and it really relieves a lot of tension and pressure to achieve this spiritual idealism that we believe in. The application of the wisdom in spiritual realm that we are achieving through listening to all of these things, it's going to happen when you understand that you're worthy of acting out in those ways. So if somebody says, hey, you got to love yourself, you got to, drink more water. So, you got to really take a step back. And if you are more in the present moment, the moment that you have a choice of drinking, let's say a Coca-Cola and a water, you kind of check in with yourself and you look at the urges within you that want to have the Coke and which ones want to have the water, and you start to become your best friend. You start to nurture yourself instead of your enemy and judging yourself and starting to decide that, you're a failure if you do one or the other. And in reality, you're not a failure if you do any of them. It doesn't matter which one you choose. It matters how you interact with that experience. It matters how you judge yourself, how you feel after you do what you do. Because if you start to feel guilt and shame after every action that you think is wrong or not spiritual, you're just way back down in this lower frequency, even more so. So it alleviates a lot of pressure if you start to have compassion of yourself and just become your best friend, okay, in all the choices that you're making. And it'll really alleviate a lot of pressure from how you're integrating that higher spiritual self.
But what about those of us who have forgotten to listen to that little voice of our body that tells us what's good for it, what it needs, and we're not even listening to that voice anymore?
Yeah, that happens. And for that, I say you got to sit down and you got to meditate. You got to meditate. And I know a lot of us don't want to hear the word meditation, but the truth is that the only way that we're going to reconnect with ourselves is by staying silent, even if it's just, I'm telling you, 1 minute of silence a day where you check in with yourself and you connect with yourself and kind of just reassess who you are. You stop externalizing your experience. Like, everything is not outside, it's inside. But like I said, our society is trained. We are trained in every way, from the music that we're listening to the kind of careers that we have, to the families, to our society, to everything. is training us constantly to externalize our experiences. We are feeling, sensing, experiencing everything through the body. And that's where the disconnect comes. So we need to connect with the inner self so that we can start to open that dialogue with what's happening in those experiences. And, it's really not that hard. I know that we feel that it's hard, and there's a lot of resistance because we feel, we don't want to be doing that. But when you start doing that, you're going to realize that a lot of weight is lifted, a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety is actually lifted when you start to connect with yourself, because you're no longer struggling with feeling and running away from the actual emotions that are actually happening within you. So the way that you truly feel about certain experiences. And that happens with awareness. And all of us, I invite everyone this month to try that out. The moment that we start to feel a deep disconnect, just take one moment of silence to just reconnect, to observe. Come into a state of observation. Check yourself out and take a look at yourself as if you're watching a movie of yourself in that moment. Then your perspective shifts greatly. You start to look at yourself from a different perspective.
How much of that is mental? And when I say that, is that mental state of thinking that you're not good enough, you're not strong enough, you don't have the will, you don't have the drive, you're too tired because of working all day, or some of us who work all day and all night? How much of that is just excuses comparatively to the disconnect between the mind and the soul?
Yeah, a lot of it is going to be mental, because our mind is what's accessing and deciding for us, what we're going to experience based on our past experiences. So, it's interesting. We have such a deep resistance to coming into a state of silence, to coming into a state of calm, because somewhere within us, we feel that we're going to be losing something. Like, if I don't feel really stressed out right now, I'm not going to be safe, or I'm not going to be on time. But that is programming that we need to become aware of. And that's where this concept of mental comes in, because we are buying into the programs that we've been told, which are actually lies. It's not true that you're not going to be late if you continue to be stressed. It's not true that you're going to lose something, or that someone's going to do something bad to you if you're not acting or behaving or feeling these certain emotions. And I guess the thing is, why don't you be brave for 1 minute and try to explore a different way of experiencing that experience that you're used to, behaving in a certain way. This is what it means to really be a warrior of your own self, coming into this higher self. And it takes a lot of time, Dave. It took me years to train myself to let go of that deep, deep urge to want to feel, to want to experience, to even be painful. You realize that you're addicted to certain things, even suffering. We're addicted to even suffering, because it's been a part of our program for so long that we don't know anything else, and we're afraid to try something else. So it really takes a little bit of stepping back and even some bravery to kind of choose to try a different way of looking and experiencing things. So and don't be so hard on yourself. It happens, but it doesn't mean you're not going to keep trying. Consciousness coming into the higher self, it's a constant evolution. And ultimately what we're trying to achieve is being in a state of unconditional love for everything, not just yourself, but everything. Because when you're at that state, not just mentally, but physically, biologically, down to the cellular level, down to the fact that your DNA is writing based on your experiences and your emotions, you're really affecting yourself at a level of a whole organism, instead of just thinking that you're just a one person, going with the flow, taking all the punches, taking all the beatings. You are a conscious organism deciding how you're going to experience your day.
How do the chakras come into play with this?
Yeah, that's actually really important, because this is where we start to connect the external experience, the illusion of what we're experiencing, and what we're actually processing physically. How the body works is that our organism is receiving information. We're like sponges. Everything that we're doing, anything that we walk into, we're absorbing experiences through many different levels, emotionally, vibrationally, and physically. And so when the experiences come in, they come in through our senses. The senses are experiencing it. The biggest organ in our body, as we know, is our skin. And our skin is connected to the nervous system. So everything that we are experiencing, we are absorbing through the nervous system. And all that information through the brain, which is computing all of what's occurring outside of you, is constantly going back and forth from a filing cabinet based on past experiences that resemble or match what you're experiencing. And so those filing cabinets are holding all of the experiences that you've had in your life that are matching what you're going to be going through. Now, on a deeper level, all of that is stored within the body. How do we know that? Because, for example, if we start to feel anxiety or fear, depending on what you're going through, a lot of us will experience it in our abdomen. Our abdomen starts to tense up, it starts to cramp up, we start to get nausea. You know, we start to have these physical reactions based on our emotions. And so that's a really great way to start understanding the body-mind connection. When you feel an emotion, your body's feeling it. And depending on what part of your body is feeling the emotion, it's going to tell you where the origin of the program is that you're actually running. Because we have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind experiencing things. Most of the time, the conscious mind is not even anywhere in effect. Usually, it's the subconscious mind that's creating our experiences. And what we need to do is we need to turn that around and start being aware of what the subconscious mind is experiencing. So externally, we might put a smile on our face and we might, say, oh, yeah, we're having a great time. But internally, you have a lot of anxiety because you're insecure and you're not sure how this person's going to take you. So these are the complexities that we need to start to become aware of. And the chakras play a really important role because that's where the information is actually being stored. And why is this important? Because when the chakras are out of balance, this is normally where your main programs, your main incomplete perceptions are coming from. So let's say you are insecure and fearful, and what happens is you go into public and you have a major anxiety and then your chest tenses up. So you start to acknowledge this. And so as soon as you start to feel that emotion, the invitation is to kind of feel the emotion and go to the root cause of where that first experience, the first time you experience that. And what you'll find is that during that experience, you decided that it was unsafe to be in public, or it was unsafe to be in a state of vulnerability when there are other people around. So your chakras are actually storing these experiences and the information. And when we start to see people having illnesses and diseases in the parts of their body, what I see a lot in my work every day is that people that store these painful experiences, that do not process them, store it in their body, and that's what ends up manifesting into a physical ailment. It can be anything as simple as a shoulder pain into a chronic disease. So it's really important. It's really important to be aware of that.
I want to read a couple of comments to you, and we got some questions that are coming up, which we will get to in hour number 2 as we continue on here with Geraldine Orozco on The Spiritual You.
Right.
John is saying, what Geraldine just said, what she is talking about is so profound, is so fundamental, and she explains a way to approach it that is so much easier than the way I've been going about it. I am so impressed. So that's from John right there. And another John, who I'm going to be honest, he made a post on Twitter that almost made me laugh out loud. And I had to bite my tongue with it, so thanks there, Cubby. Anyways, he says, honestly, Geraldine's right on the money. Meditation is amazing and has some really great gifts, but sometimes it's so hard to do because we're out of meditation shape. And I wanted to get to that because of the way we're talking right now. What does that actually mean, meditation shape, and whether we're out of meditation shape?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand, and the struggle is real, John. I'm not new to that concept. And even for me, who has tried to train myself to meditate every single day, when things get stressing, when things get tough, we resist so much to sit down and have that silence. But, I think with so many years of working with people and training meditation, I found a lot of different little tricks that people can use. And for me, for example, I am a very active person. I had ADHD when I was a child. So for me, my mind could be attentive to 20 different things at once and I'm going to be fine. But some people get extremely overwhelmed with those things, and then it ends up being a mosh posh of ideas and responsibilities and to-do lists and everything. So the mind will really resist having that silence. And for active minds, there's something called active meditation, which means that you're still focusing on something, but you're directing your mind to focus on something specific. And so visualization is one of the things that has really helped me, for example, dominate the ability to stay still, to come into that silent mode. And after I started to use that visualization meditation, my mind started to train itself to focus on one thing at a time. And over time, over a couple of months, I was able to come into a complete state of silence. And that's when we start practicing Vipassana type of meditation, where you are practicing complete stillness. And it's really very beautiful. And it's one of the most powerful meditations that I've ever had, was coming into that stillness, because we don't realize right now, if all these listeners just stay still for just 1 second, it's rushing. The energy is rushing through the body, through the legs, through our arms, through our chest. We're listening, but we don't realize what is actually moving and acting in our body. So it allows you to kind of take a moment of observation and check in with the body and what the body is experiencing at that moment. And even if you try to do that just for 5 minutes or even 2 minutes out of your day, maybe a couple times a day, you'll start to notice a tremendous shift in how you start to interact with things. But, you just got to try it. You just got to try it. We got to let go of all of the, ideas that we have of meditation, of being, cross-legged in lotus pose. You can meditate anywhere you are, standing up, sitting down. Your body-mind connection has to be so strong that it doesn't matter what you're doing. It is a constant practice of awareness that you're slowly training yourself to do. And there are many different ways. On my YouTube channel, I have a lot of great videos that you guys can check out. I did a 30-day challenge with 30 different kinds of meditations and techniques. So please do check them out. And if you guys need even more help, you can sign up to do a session with me, a DNA reprogramming, where I walk you through a training process. So I'm really happy to offer that to you. But there's a lot of information out there that you guys can check out. It's just get started now.
Absolutely. Geraldine Orozco. You'll be happy to know, Geraldine, as we go to break here, I'm on day 37 without Pepsi. Day 37.
I'm so proud of you. That's amazing.
Me too. Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio coming up. Your questions as well. Stay tuned.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi to everyone listening in Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM. In Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF AM 1560. WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia. KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. And we're on UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Good to have you with us. Don't forget, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ivresse. Ivresse is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, more coming as well, including reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. The first Tuesday of the month, we have Geraldine Orozco with us for The Spiritual You. It's a time where we find our zen, our chi, and our connection to aliens sometimes. Gosh, I love that. Geraldine's websites, she has 2 of them, BayAreaMeditation.com, GeraldineOrozco.com as well. Geraldine, welcome back.
Hi, thanks.
No problem. No problem. We're going to get to some audience questions here right off the bat. Craig is asking, Geraldine, is it not more about self-reflection and honesty? Once you understand your own evil and face it, you begin to understand others rather than judging others, finding self-love, and stop judging ourselves.
Absolutely. You totally got it. And that's exactly what it is. And the only time we're going to actually get to the point where we stop judging is by learning to be an observer. You see, for me in my early journey, what was difficult for me for a long time was to understand that I can't identify things as right and wrong anymore. Because on the highest level, once again, we need both things in nature for creation to occur. You need the divine feminine, the divine masculine in order to create life. And it's the same thing with the concept of light and dark. You need both of them. So, for me, the fragmentation is what caused me to feel so much shame, so much guilt every time that I would even sit down to even observe my emotions and observe the things that were negative. But that's the thing that a lot of people have a hard time understanding, because a lot of people hear the concept, okay, don't we have to observe our emotions and understand them? Yeah, but when you observe them, then what do you do with that? Because a lot of people end up feeling a lot of fragmentation, a lot of shame, because they feel things either because of our conditioning as a society or because religion or because our families. Wherever it is that we received our programming, we believe that there is a right way of being and a wrong way of being. And so as you start observing your own emotions, you're going to realize that, it's just a matter of understanding yourself as a human, as you were saying, and you just said it, and integrating the way that you're observing that, integrating that shame, that guilt that we're feeling. And another thing I really want to mention is that, on some level, we really are fighting this kind of war on consciousness. You got to realize that your presence and your attention is one of the most valuable things right now in our reality. Thousands and thousands of dollars are spent. Not just a month, but an hour to try to get your attention. And where your attention is being placed, either a marketing company or the music industry or Facebook or any of these social media things or whatever it is, our technology is aiming to get your attention. So it's a very valuable thing. And those of us that are working on managing where our attention is going are really the ones that are in charge of how they're creating their reality. So there's something to be said about the fact that the more awareness that we have of ourselves and our emotion, it's like you become a person that's more in charge, in other words, of what you're creating, of your reality. But thank you for that comment.
All right, let's get to Robin's question here. He is asking, I am diagnosed with complex partial epilepsy, which means my body will feel compelled to walk, run, or talk. Now, when this is going on, it's hard to meditate. To help it go away, do you have any ideas that could help him out? Great question, Robin.
Yeah, awesome question, Robin. Thank you so much for that question. There are. I know that it's not so much about being actually physically still, especially if there is that a disconnect and an issue with the motor of the body. But it's more about the thoughts that you are feeling, that you are experiencing, your emotions and the thoughts that come up when you are, staying still. It's not the body. The body, if the body is moving, if there is some movement there, just observing and understanding where that movement is coming from. And if the movement is as a result of something that's happening to you on a much deeper physical level, then what needs to be understood and integrated at that point is any resistance within yourself and what's occurring with your body. So, for example, any disconnect between yourself and the illness that's occurring, this condition that's occurring, and coming into a state of observation with any part of you emotionally that is feeling a resistance to that. And what that's going to provide you with is a really interesting journey into understanding the depths of your emotions that you're feeling. I work with people with a lot of even terminal illnesses. And one of the things that we have discovered over years of working is that a lot of people that have integrated a lot of these illnesses sometimes have a lot of emotional disconnect, their ability to accept and to feel worthy because of everything that's occurring on a physical level really creates a tremendous disconnect between themselves. And so there's a lot of emotional trauma. And as you know, I really strongly feel that a lot of these illnesses are indeed have their own psychosomatic origin. And if we start to take a look at them, we can start to understand how the body can start to heal. Now, healing is a very complex thing. We're not talking about all of a sudden you drink something and you're magically 100% fine. We chose coming into this incarnation, into this three-dimensional reality to experience what we are going through, whether that's an illness, whether that's a hard life, whether that's difficult things that are occurring to us, in order as consciousness to become aware of ourselves. So the lesson and the journey here, which is a lifelong journey, is to become aware of yourself on every level while you are experiencing what you're going through. And that's including all of these illnesses and all of these things that are, feeling that they're out of balance. The sooner you start to comprehend and understand the root cause of what you're experiencing from every level, emotional, physical, mental, you're going to start to integrate what you're experiencing and everything will change. Your perspective on how you're dealing with this, your perspective on life, the perspective on yourself will change. And that's when, really true deep healing begins. And it's a journey, but that's what I would say about that. And I'm very happy to assist in any way working on some of these techniques for meditation and awareness.
All right, let's go over to Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, where Canadian Joe is asking, is there a real difference between meditating and daydreaming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, when we're daydreaming, our the waves, first of all, of our mind are on a different level, okay? And so I'm going to talk about the different aspects of the body because, you know me, I can see the multidimensional body, and because of that, I see what happens on another dimension outside of the physical. Now, when you're daydreaming, what happens to the body is that your physical body is kind of come into kind of a physical sitting state, a still state, but the awareness, your consciousness, is not in the body. It's actually outside. You're actually, you can be using your imagination or you can be completely disconnected, but there is no connection between your awareness and your consciousness in the physical body. So this poses an issue for the human that is experiencing that, because when we're not consciously aware of our physical body and our mental body, so an example, you utilizing your imagination or your visualization, that leaves the body very vulnerable energetically to be energetically open, and whatever it is that you're daydreaming is going to be a result mentally of something that's happening psychologically on a deeper level. So you might be daydreaming that you are, the illusion of, having a vacation or something like that. That is going to be psychologically a result of something that you're experiencing on an internal level, whether it's an emotional process or something like that. And so, first of all, because there's that disconnect, the body is absolutely open. And so you are basically vibrating at a frequency that is a result of what you are imagining outside of your physical body. And your physical body has a vibrational signature which can change at any time. You have the ability of changing that vibrational signature. A lot of times our heavy programs that are running on the subconscious mind are actually what are dictating what that vibrational signature will be. What does that mean? That when you're not consciously aware of the physical body, that means that you're absolutely open to any attachment, which is either an entity or some kind of consciousness that is somehow parasitic, in alignment with the signature that you are vibrating at unconsciously, and that will attach to your body. So what happens? Let's say you come back into your body, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm not paying attention. And all of a sudden you have pain in your lower back. Or this is just an example, but it's a very common one. You have a pain in your back, or you have a headache, or, you start to feel a little more depressed, or your energy is drained. And you're wondering, how come when I came back into my body, I'm now completely, don't have energy to do anything, I don't feel motivated, so on and so forth. This is a result of your energy being drained and you interacting with some kind of entity or attachment in your body. Now, this is very common, and this is why whether you are daydreaming or just out of your body, a lot of people leave their bodies when they are fearful of experiences, when they have some kind of trauma or belief, very deep-rooted belief systems that they are unworthy. They choose to leave their body in order to not experience emotions that may be triggering to them. So a lot of us, when I look at someone, I can see their consciousness is drifting somewhere above their body, but their physical body is more like a robot. It's kind of an auto drive, and it's not aware of what's occurring. And a lot of the times these people have holes in their auric sphere and attachments and a lot of heavy energy that they're holding on to. So, level of awareness is really, really important. And when we're practicing becoming aware and actually being in the body, we experience things on a much more vivid level. And that's really hard for a lot of us, especially those of you that are empaths, that are a little bit more psychically aware and open. You pick up everyone's emotion because you don't know how to protect yourself and how to own your space. And that's a problem. The majority of us walk around open, and a lot of things can attach. A lot of things can drain. We're no longer in charge and controlling our experience. So there's a really huge difference between daydreaming and being conscious and wanting to be in your body and not wanting to be in the body. So again, this goes back to that level of awareness and choosing awareness so that you can be in charge of what you're experiencing instead of being like coming into this mode of victim mode, or coming into the mode where you're basically being manipulated by your surroundings, by social media, by whatever it is that we are experiencing or we choose to experience in this life.
All right, let's get to Joey's question here. He is asking, can you comment on the thought that one cannot equate prayer and meditation, yet can we fully separate them either?
I think there has to be a conversation about how you define prayer, first of all. There's different ways of praying also. I mean, I was raised Catholic, and in Catholic Church, we are basically taught to repeat certain prayers. And I got to be honest, I mean, it wasn't until I was about maybe 30 years old that I realized what those prayers actually meant. And so a lot of times, there's a huge disconnect between what we are ritualistically following in terms of what prayer is. Like, for example, Our Father who art in heaven, that's a very common prayer that a lot of people pray in order to feel that they're getting protection. But there's a lot of things that we need to start to educate ourselves on as to the power of verb, the power of word. Word and speech is a vibrational frequency, and so is your intention. So what we're speaking, what we're saying, what we're intending is incredibly powerful. Those are creative forces that are actually creating into our reality. So we have to be very careful about what we're actually saying and speaking and intending. When it comes to prayer, some people pray repeating things that they're not very, very conscious of what they're repeating, and that's an issue. I've done a lot of research on a lot of Catholic and Christian rituals and what they represent and the words that they're using. And I really invite all of you to check that out, those of you that pray, just as a note, just to educate yourself, just to understand what is being said in those prayers. Now, we're going to talk about just general prayer, where we are maybe asking for assistance or asking for help. Again, we're talking about intention and the root of intention. It's really important to focus on this, because just the way that you are repeating words that you're not consciously aware of what you're saying, when you're asking for things, the power behind what you're asking or what you're intending, it's the intention that is running what you are creating there. So, for example, if you are praying in meditation or in any time that you are silent and quiet and connected, you are saying, please, universe, or please, God, help me achieve this on my test or tomorrow, or please help me, get that loan that I need more for my house. You got to understand the complexity of intention, because what we think we are doing is not necessarily what's actually happening. Your subconscious mind is what's creating reality. And if this intention is actually coming from a place of lack or a place of loss or fear, what you're actually attracting into your space is that fear, is that loss. It's not necessarily, what you are trying to attract into your space. So we have to be very careful. When we pray, if you pray, that intention has to come from a very clear understanding that you are a creative force and that you are fully connected with yourself as an organism, as a creator, and manifesting actively creating, knowing that you are worthy of creating what you're doing. So all of these parts are really important when it comes to prayer. And that's what I think a lot of these religious organizations, they fail to teach us the power of intention. Now, in the spiritual community, we learn about this power of intention, but we have to understand the mechanisms of how that really works on the back end. Now, meditation and prayer are two different things. Meditation is meant to train your mind to come into a deep connection with yourself. It is meant for training awareness, which is different than prayer. Prayer is a very directed intention. So there's a little bit of a difference there, and we can go into that sometime too.
You mentioned worthiness. That is a tough one for a lot of people, especially in today's society where everything is right now. We have to have everything right now. And if we don't have the right look, the right face, the right clothes, the right shoes, the right attitude, the right everything, that almost like having that Facebook or Instagram perfection that we all seem to have on social media where every day the sun is shining. It's difficult because behind the scenes, we often talk about how much lonelier people are getting, Geraldine.
Absolutely. And this is really sad. And I was just recently reviewing this in my mind because I have a lot of people that I talk to, and they keep telling me the same thing. I feel so lonely. I feel so isolated. And, the majority of us, we've kind of had these conversations. A lot of us feel lonely, and we kind of know why. We know that we feel lonely because we feel a great disconnect between ourselves and other people that resonate with what we believe or what we want to be or what we're trying to achieve emotionally, spiritually. And, as I mentioned earlier, we really are in this kind of silent war for consciousness. And our conscious awareness has to come to a point where we're very, very honest and real about what we're experiencing here on this earth. There is a tremendous amount of fragmentation that is part of this institution, about all these institutions that we are working with and functioning through on a daily basis. And we have to start understanding that the concept of separation is an illusion that's being fed to us. It's being marketed to us. It's being, on every level, we are being told that we are alone and separate and individual without anyone that cares about us, loves us, that we're not good enough, that this is what we need to achieve as opposed to what we are. And that is a tremendous lie. And we all need to get on the same boat. We all have to be on board in understanding what that means. Because when we start to look at these things like Instagram or Facebook, and we look at all these beautiful, perfect people, we start to look at ourselves and we're like, oh my gosh, like what am I? I'm nothing. I'm like this. I'm like that. I don't have anything perfect. I don't have this dream house that I'm supposed to have or this job. And that's creating a tremendous amount of isolation and fragmentation for the person on so many different levels. And I wish I could show you a person that starts to experience that in one snap of a second, in one tiny flash of a second. How many parts of the body are being filled with chemicals that create a tremendous amount of rejection and shame and guilt and pain? So though I think that to counteract this kind of illusion that we're being fed is education. Like, we need to start educating ourselves on what is real and what is not real. What we're seeing outside of us is an illusion. It's not real. What we are inside. Yeah, Dave?
Well, I'm going to get you to hold that thought right there on what we are inside, because we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You happens the first Tuesday of every month. We'll be back with more Geraldine right here on Spaced Out Radio. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Appreciate each and every one of you hanging out with us tonight. Hey, I want to remind all of you, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, more coming as well. Good place to check out the SOR Newswire and keep yourself up to date in the weird and strange news. The first Tuesday of every month, we have Geraldine Orozco on the show from Bay Area Meditation. Her website's bayareameditation.com and geraldineorozco.com if you want to check it out. This is The Spiritual You, and it continues right now. Geraldine, thank you so much.
Dave, thanks so much for having me.
I got to ask you, as we were taking this conversation kind of into the higher self, when we start connecting with our higher self, do we know it's actually happening? Do we know how we are going to be changing energetically to be able to recognize that vision?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I mean, when we're talking about changing, energetically, I mean, we're talking about frequency. Again, I was talking about that vibrational frequency, and what makes up the vibrational frequency is basically the information that makes up whatever's running the back programs, the back-end programs. So basically, your main algorithm, if you want to consider yourself like a computing system, just as an analogy. The higher self is basically, it's the eternal, is what is that consciousness, that infinite consciousness, the intelligent being, the thing that is real, most real about you. And so basically the consciousness, how I want you to visualize that, the best way is that you are a fractal of infinite consciousness. Now, we are basically a deeply connected organism in reality of consciousness. All of us are just a fractal manifestation of that. And as we come into different dimensions, manifesting into some kind of physical form, for example, here we are a three-dimensional physical body. The higher self is really the true real self, that infinite consciousness that comes in and kind of oversees the function of this physical body. So when we talk about coming into ascension or evolution or transformation, we're talking about changing the core belief systems that define how we behave, how we act, how we think, how we feel. And those are important because they are what create that vibrational signature that we're talking about. when your core beliefs are shifting and changing into something that is more integrated, which means that you have come into a more neutral state of being, you're that observer self, you come to that 0 point, and we've heard all of these terms in the spiritual community. All we're talking about, to make it simple, is the integration of ourself, integration of that higher self with this physical self. So you are experiencing the human body through consciousness, through that intelligence, through that higher self now. There is no separation between your body and your experience in the physical and what you are, seeing and knowing that you're experiencing from the higher level. So that integration is a really powerful change, and the shifts will show themselves, or you will be able to know that you are accessing your higher self, because you're going to start to look at things from an observer perspective, and when you act, it's going to be something that is completely in alignment with your true core values. The true self is defined by whoever you are that has your very clear true core values and the core values and your belief systems. And that is attained through a very clear dissection and understanding of what is real and what is not. Just before we went on the break, we were talking about the illusion of what we see outside of ourselves to attain, and internally what we know is real. And so that dialogue has to happen on a daily basis. We have to be able to discern what's real and what's not real. And again, going back to the beginning of the show, we talked about how balance is really the definition of what is real, because we're talking about if we look at nature functions in such a beautiful, perfect way. Everything functions and flows, and there is a purpose to every single movement. And just the way nature flows in that way, us humans, we have to have purpose to every movement that we have, and it has to be done from a place of consciousness and awareness of what every action is going to be creating. So everything that we're doing, we're very consciously aware. And so the higher self is something that's absolutely available to you at any time. It's just a matter of being aware and 100% authentic with who you are and what you're willing to experience. That's what it is.
Yeah, so when we start to reach for that higher self and that higher level of consciousness, how does that change our bodies? How does that change the way we think, the way we eat, the way we tackle everyday life stress? I mean, this is important because so many people today are so bogged down that they barely have the energy, the time, or even, if we use the word desire, to push themselves any further than they already do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is really what it is. But what happens is that the stress no longer is stress for you. And things that are stressful to us become stressful because we are triggered and we somehow feel helpless and overwhelmed by the activities and events that are occurring around us. And when you are acting from your higher self, there is no point that you begin to feel overwhelmed and helpless, because you know that you are your only provider for the balance that you require in order to live a healthy life. You are very consciously aware that you are the one that's there to provide yourself with everything that you require to have a healthy, balanced experience. And again, when we're at that state of being, our choices become very simple. They are not complicated, because what happens is that normally the human is running from that split self, right? The unconscious self and the conscious self. And that's what creates so much stress for us, because part of us isn't aware of what's causing the triggered pain, and so we just act. We react to things that are outside of us based on our experience, on our learned reactions. And that causes a lot of pain and suffering continuously for us, because we're running the same old programs that don't work. When somebody is integrated, there is no disconnect between the conscious and the subconscious mind. They are working together. They are becoming aware and observing and experiencing things consciously. So they understand what is happening every moment. And the body is not in denial. It's not suppressing emotions. It's not hiding feelings or fears. It's absolutely authentic. And it knows that any time that it feels fearful or out of balance, it knows how to provide itself with everything it needs in order to not be that way. So that's the difference between being a regular human that is just reacting to your experience and somebody that's integrated. So that alleviates your stress. It completely changes the way you choose to do things in life. You will always choose to do things that are in alignment with yourself, that will bring your overall organism into the most, balanced state of being, that is healthy for you, that is healing for you. That's the difference. And it's a very beautiful state to be in, but it takes awareness to bring yourself to that. And it takes a lot of self-love, because you need to know that you're absolutely worthy of making the decisions that are the most nurturing and healing for yourself every moment of your day.
That's interesting. I never really thought about it that way, because I think we all get so caught up in what we are doing in our everyday lives that we forget. We forget about those closest to us. We forget about even calling our parents just to say hello or I love you or something along those lines. And I hate to make that sound sad or depressing, but that's kind of where we are. It's this individualistic attitude and this me first attitude that society has really come. So when you start adding in the spirituality aspect, where we are supposed to be showing love and caring for each and every single person on this planet, and we see what's going on a daily basis, a lot of people are getting more anxious. They're becoming more depressed. How does that affect what we are seeing within ourselves in trying to reach for that higher level?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you posed a lot of really important topics here. Because one of them, let's have the discussion. Okay, so let's say what will come into question when you're doing the spiritual work, when you're coming into question your belief systems. One of the things that you're going to run into is questioning what is real and what is necessary, what is unnecessary, what emotions are real, which emotions are not. And what you're going to notice is that a lot of these things that we have been taught through our parents, through our society, through our family, we don't agree with a lot of those things. So in reality, your entire structure of belief and reality will change when you're coming into this higher self. And that even what will also come into question is the relationships that you have with people around you. Because a lot of times, a lot of us, the majority of us, is actually running on really imbalanced, ways of having relationships. The majority of our relationships are completely toxic to us. The relationship with our parents are toxic, with our siblings, with our families, our friends, with ourselves are toxic. So what has to happen first is a very deep understanding of how to heal and transform those toxic relationships into something healthier. And in that process, you're going to realize a lot of things. The relationships that you have with your parents and your siblings and your friends are going to change in perspective. It's not how society taught us that, we have to be absolutely connected to our family all the time. Sometimes those relationships will fall through. And because we come into this reality as a network of connections, your family, what I call a network, is consciousness that has entered into this temporary agreement to experience things based on vibrational signature. So all of the things that your parents are learning and experiencing are things that their parents have experienced, and so on and so forth down their ancestral lineage, and that's what you're learning and experiencing. So a lot of these things, when you start waking up and becoming aware of these programs that don't resonate with you anymore, you're going to start dissolving them. You're going to start clearing up those contracts, and your relationships with your family will change. That's something I really want to make clear, because we tend to have this, fantasy or illusion about how families should be managed, and it causes a lot of disconnect between what's real. The truth is that we have a lot of programs that we need to heal in our families. And as we heal that up, we, number one, identify any kind of pain that we're storing within us, and we begin to heal that. Now, we can't be of service, or we can't help anyone without helping ourselves first. We, as a human organism, have to heal our own pain, our own suffering, and the only way we're going to do that is by becoming aware of all the things that trigger us. And little by little, the concept of isolation will then, it's like a veil, will be lifted. This illusion of isolation will be lifted, because the majority of our suffering comes from the illusion of isolation, feeling that our mother didn't love us, our father didn't love us, our partner didn't give us what we needed. And that it comes full circle. We then realize that we are the only fountain of the provider of all things we've ever needed. And it's from that perspective that you can begin to give to others, because now you understand what you needed to heal. And when you see someone that's experiencing that in themselves, that suffering, you can identify because you've learned or you've gone through that. So you can provide some support. And it's what that gentleman on Twitter was saying. I believe it was Twitter. He was just mentioning that through that observation, through that integration, we can then kind of be of service to others. It's exactly what we're talking about here. So there's several different aspects that are really important that we need to start working on, and dissolving the illusions and the false concepts of our structure of reality are one of the first things that we need to start working on.
Where do our guides come into play on this?
Yeah, so I love the concept of guides. And I think there's a bit of a misconception as to what guides are. We think that guides are, they come in as angels, or they come in as manifested as any form. But we think that it's something that's actually outside of us that's coming to assist. And one of the things that I'd really love for you to consider as a possibility is that in reality, what you're looking at when you look at guides and connect with them is fragments of yourself. And they're fragments of yourself, either coming from, quote unquote, a future timeline, or a manifestation of consciousness from a higher frequency. Okay, that's the comparison. Because we, in reality, our organism is not just limited to this human body and then a soul. We're actually kind of like splattered into different fragments of ourselves on multiple timelines. And what happens is that we believe that we have past lives and future lives. In reality, all of those aspects of ourselves we are experiencing simultaneously here in the now. So your guides are actually fragments of yourself that you are summoning as a part of yourself into this present moment. So we really have to learn how to work with those. We have to learn how to connect with them if you want. Some of us don't want to connect with other things. I myself try to connect with guides and understand the connection that I have with them, any contractual agreements that I have with them, and them as in me, fragments of myself, in order to reintegrate them. And over time, my invitation is for you to utilize the concept of guides as yourself as a God creator, utilizing all of the aspects of yourself in order to heal and transform yourself in this limited experience of life that you have here and now.
I have to laugh in the chat room going on right now. I don't mean to change topics, but there's a bunch of West Coasters who are absolutely frying eggs on the sidewalks right now. And they're complaining because I was breaking a sweat and finding shade at 79 degrees Fahrenheit today up here.
That's true. Oh, my God.
They're making fun. All you Californians are making fun of me right now. In the meantime, I was sweating profusely today. You can take your 3-digit temperatures. I was sweating at 79 degrees. That's hot. Hot. But
enjoy it while you can, Dave.
Hey, you know what I can honestly say? There's no fires around here, knock on wood. The forests are too wet. God. The forests are too wet right now. But yeah, you Californians can have your triple digits, and the Texans and the Nevadans and everybody like that. Have your triple digits. I'm happy at 79 degrees on a hot day. Although last year we hit over 100 a couple of days. That was warm. Real
wow.
warm.
Well, I got to be honest. I'm from California, and I can't stand 3 digits or even 90 degrees is too much for me. So
way too hot.
I don't know. I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Way too hot. Way too hot. Nonetheless, let's continue on with the guides, as we got about 2.5 minutes before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Geraldine Orozco is our guest tonight. I do want to say this in regards to connecting with our guides to find that higher self of ours. Are they always there? Because I have noticed a lot of people asking, even in my private life, people will say, tell me about your spirit guides, or I don't think I have any. But that is wrong, is it not?
Well, like I said, I think that in reality, guides are a fragment of ourselves, and it really just depends on our belief system. If we believe that there is something outside of us that can aid us in any way, we can create that. We can create that. If we don't believe that we require that, we don't need to create it. It will not manifest in any way. Now, if we believe that we're completely isolated and helpless, even more so, you're not going to create those things. As a matter of fact, something with guides that I really want to put out there, I want to make sure that I'm very clear about it, is that we talked about prayer and manifestation and what we're attracting into our energetic space, and guides are the same. If you are in a place of feeling completely helpless and fearful, and you believe that there are entities outside of you that you need, you will attract them. You will attract them, and you can manifest them based on your beliefs. The problem is that some of these beings that can manifest before you sometimes can be parasitic. So this is why sometimes as an energy healer and somebody that can see multiple dimensions, I always advise people to be very cautious when they are asking for guides or looking to connect with them. Because what happens is that they will attract anything into their space. They can be aliens, angels, any kind of spiritual beings that they are coming into their space, and they will come based on your vibrational frequencies. If your vibrational frequency is complete desperation, you're going to attract something that may parasitically attach to you, and you may be communicating with this being, and you may perceive that they are assisting you for some time, but as you go through your evolution, you're going to realize, oh my God, maybe that energy wasn't really the best energy. And your intuition, as you train yourself, you will become better at identifying what entities or what guides or whatever manifests themselves as something that is assisting you is of high vibration or low. I'm going to give you some pointers.
Hey, why don't you save those pointers for when we get back from the break? Because we are that close. And those pointers are very good. By the way, I lied to the audience. It was 85 degrees Fahrenheit today, 29 degrees Celsius. It's supposed to be 85 tomorrow, so 29 Celsius tomorrow as well. So I lied about the temperature. That's just too hot. 85. Way too hot. Don't know how you do it, America. Don't know how you do it. Come to the cold. Come to the cold side. Because it's really nice when it's cold. Geraldine Orozco, Spiritual You, continues for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back with Hour 3 next on the Mighty SOR.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour is underway on Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you. Appreciate your time. WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia is one of our terrestrial affiliates, along with KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas. UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. We're also on KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. On the digital side, we are on Revolution Radio and Kingdom of Nye Radio. Thank you for tuning us in. Don't forget, you can also check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ivresse. Ivresse is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. You can go read up on the SOR Newswire from Captain Shirk, and so much more. More is coming very, very soon as well. For the final time tonight, we introduce Geraldine Orozco. She comes on in for the Spiritual You, the first Tuesday of every month. Her websites, GeraldineOrozco.com and BayAreaMeditation.com. Geraldine, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. And just to note, for hybrid experiencers, you guys can visit my website at hybridmother.com. I always forget to mention that one. But
I always forget that one, too. I always do. Now, right before the break, you were going to give some pointers on getting in touch with guides and getting in touch with your higher self.
Yeah, so one of the techniques that I really use is utilizing the function of your crown chakra. Now, the crown chakra is the center for manifestation and creation. So this is where it basically functions like a prism. Any consciousness that comes in through there is fragmented when it comes into the three-dimensional plane, okay? And so anything that we are coming, any energy, any intention that is being directed into the physical form from this point is what we are going to be experiencing from the highest levels of our contractual agreements in this matrix, in this lifetime. So what that means is that everything that we have signed up on some level contractually to experience with our family, our friends in this reality, whether that's painful or joyful experience, we can alter and change based on how we utilize our creation energy. And we can direct that creation energy by identifying what is your vibrational signature. So the trick is this: you sit down, you meditate, and you align yourself, and you come into what's called reading state. And you guys can check out my website or my YouTube to learn about that. You're going to identify what your vibrational signature is. Once you have that, you put that up into your crown chakra. Now, this is the most powerful tool of discernment that you will learn about, because anything that comes into your energetic space, you can shine this light on top of, and it will allow you to discern, to see if it's something that is positive for you or something that is negative for you. How does it do that? You will be able to see the contractual agreement that you have with this person, place, or thing. The contractual agreement manifests in any form. It can be an object, a color, a shape, whatever that is. And whatever it is, we want to disconnect from all contractual agreements, from everything as infinite consciousness, in order to come into a state of integration. That being said, when you have a guide show up, let's say somebody presents themselves as an angel or as a beautiful being, you can utilize this crown chakra, shining it on this being, and you will see either a contract or no contract. If there is no contract, this entity of consciousness has no business interfering in your life, has no business. It's actually more of a parasitic thing than it is to contribute. If there is a contract, it means on some level there are some lessons that have to be learned there. And so that gives you the opportunity to welcome it, to understand it, and understand the connection and the contractual agreement that you have with this being. And again, all of these things can be fragments of your own consciousness, but this is a wonderful way to identify whether it is or it's not. How to understand if it's a foreign entity or something that you are, calling into your energetic space for your own healing. All of us have the ability of calling in these guides. Now, how to identify who are your guides? You can visualize a room filled with chairs, and you're going to fill these chairs with, they can be people or shadows, whatever you feel are going to be your guides. You're going to basically call up each one of these guides, and you can identify a guide for, let's say, money or abundance or relationship, love, career. You can identify a guide for each one of these aspects of your life. And as you bring these guides before you, you can connect with them. You can ask them for their name. And what will happen over time as you train your intuition is you will be able to identify the kind of relationship that you have with these kinds of fragments of yourself. And it'll help you on multiple levels, because they will be functioning and working with you as fragments of yourself during times that you need assistance or you believe you need assistance. And the times that you don't, they will disappear from your energetic space. What that means is that ultimately you are the master creator of what you're creating. You are in charge of everything. Your belief, it's all about beliefs. If you believe you need guides, you can manifest guides. If you don't believe them, they will not show up. So those of you that feel that, you don't have guides, take a look at your belief systems and the belief systems that you have on isolation or being without support. And take a look at what you can do to address that, to assist that, and transform your belief systems from there into something that's healthy, more vital for you. Those are the two things that I would say. Mm-hmm.
Right. Question from the chat room. Sorry for cutting you off there. Joey is asking, would you consider, Geraldine, guides and archetypes similar or having the same influence?
I think archetypes and guides are two different things. I mean, when we talk about archetypes, we're talking about the categorization of consciousness, or what we believe is a categorization of consciousness. archetypes, in a way that I can explain it that would be easy to understand, is basically the fragmentation of consciousness. There seems to be an order as to how consciousness is fragmented when it comes into different dimensions. Even the structure of this reality is fragmented in a certain numerical order. And in that same way, in that numerical order, lies ranges of frequency. The ranges of frequency will define the kind of consciousness that are being manifested in that experience. So entities, in the same way, would be a product of that fragmentation of consciousness. And as I said, we are creators. We are projecting into the reality whatever it is we are experiencing. Therefore, it's really your own consciousness that is projecting the manifestation of an entity or a guide. And the archetype would be how to identify or categorize what it is that you are manifesting. It's also the archetype within you that is manifesting what you're going to be experiencing. So a lot of us have different kinds of archetypes within us, and we evolve through all of the archetypal aspects from the moment we're born to the moment we die. That's just the natural progression of consciousness. So in that same way, whatever we're projecting into our reality will fall under the same ranges of the experience that we're having. Okay, so if you're more of a high vibrational thinking, you're going to kind of attract those kinds of things. Again, your subconscious mind is what's actually creating, not any other thing.
Lisa wants to know, how can we find out who our guides are? And I know for myself, in my spiritual quest, I guess I can say that, I've met 3 of my guides. One's name is Jordan. One is he is like a real surfer dude type of guy, and that's kind of the way he talks. He's kind of like my main guide. I mean, I don't even think I've ever mentioned this on the show. And I have a young lady who kind of dresses like a lawyer. She always sits on a park bench. Her name is Sophelia. She's the one who gives me hell all the time when I do something stupid. That's the only time she comes around. And then I have almost like a wizard type guy who I've met once. And he goes by Cephalus. And no, pardon me, I've met him twice. And so there are multiple guides, I believe, for everybody. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But I had to meet mine through my spiritual journey. So how does one, getting back to Lisa's question, in your opinion, meet their own guides?
Yeah, so as you were mentioning, I mean, depending on what you were experiencing, those guides will appear to you, you know. And so, I mean, I was mentioning some tools that you can utilize to kind of meet your guides. And really, my best advice is first, what I advise to train is your intuition first. Train how you are intuitively seeing and receiving information. Get to know how you receive information, how you communicate on that, energetic dialogue. Because again, your guides will present themselves to you throughout your journey, and it's your job to identify whether it's something that is in alignment with you or not. And using discernment, using your intuition is the best way to identify whether something is in alignment with you or not. The practice, the little tool I gave you to utilize your crown chakra and to identify whether there's a contract or not, that's a really simple way that you can identify who is in alignment with you and who's not. And I invite you to try that. And ultimately, what you'll see through your evolution, different steps of your journey, you're going to feel that you need more support or less support as you go through it. And so it really is up to you. You can manifest as many guides as you need for your journey, or you can have no guides. It's completely up to you. There's really no wrong or right way to do it. the only thing I suggest, even if you do attract an entity, let's say, there's a lesson there. There's something there that's occurring, and there's conscious awareness that comes as a result of that experience. So I don't want you to take a look at this from a perspective of fear or afraid of connecting with entities. Go ahead and experience, learn it, take a look at it, understand what you need as an organism to help your journey and help yourself in that way. But please don't forget or don't neglect the fact that you are the most powerful creator and healer for yourself. So even though you can have 20 million guides, you yourself are the only one that is the one in charge of what you're experiencing and going through and has the capability of healing without any assistance. I want to make that very clear because we need to come into that level of consciousness at this time. You are the one in charge of your healing and your journey. So, as much as you can, try to take control of that and, understand your abilities as this sovereign organism of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. With our guides, what is their job? Is it to lead us down the correct path to spiritual enlightenment? Is it to help us find our way back home to what the religious may call heaven? Is it their job to guide our soul to a different level of understanding for preparing for the next life and reincarnation? What is their job, in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, guides are there to assist you on your journey when you believe you need it. So when you need assistance on your journey, and so really, they're there to provide you with everything that you believe you need. So if you need some protection or you need someone to, for example, something that's occurred to me recently, I felt like I really required a lot of protection for something that I went through. And so, I called upon aspects of myself that would come in and protect me, and they can manifest as whatever. It can be, your protective field around your body. They can be guardians. They can be, even ET manifestations. And they're there to assist you. And it's whatever you believe they're going to be doing, okay? So really, you're in charge of the interaction that you're going to be having with them. It's really up to you how you interact with them.
Interesting. So, in your opinion, as we only got about 7 minutes left with you, with our guides, are they the ones who introduce us to the paranormal? Are they the ones who introduce us to the extraterrestrial realms, other dimensions? Is that part of their journey as well?
Yes, I think definitely they open our eyes to looking at different dimensions. It's an invitation to look at other aspects, possible dimensions of ourselves. They can manifest as ghosts or entities or some beings or even ET manifestations of those guides that come in and help activate based on your intention aspects of yourself. For example, in my contact experience, I've had some guides come in where I understood that there was a council that is there assisting and guarding and helping this journey. So really, when we talk about guides, it's a journey. It's an ongoing journey. You can utilize them for whatever it is that you require in your healing, in your understanding of knowledge of your existence. And when you're done, maybe they'll disappear and other beings can come into play. It's completely up to you.
How do we connect then our higher self, our higher consciousness to a higher spirituality, whether it's extraterrestrial or even, trying to get in touch with our own intuition?
Well, there is no difference between, consciousness and extraterrestrial. Everything is a fragment of consciousness. Every manifestation is a fragment of consciousness, whether it's manifesting as a low vibrational manifestation of consciousness or high. We are all consciousness. So what that means is that in order to evolve, in order to come into this highest vibrational expression, we have to let go of all of the things that are impeding our ability to come into that higher self. All the programs, the belief systems, the emotions, the experiences, especially those belief systems that limit ourselves from coming into that highest expression. And what was that last part of your question, Dave, again?
More towards trying to get our connection with our higher self, with our own, gifts, if we can call them gifts, with the extraterrestrial contact, maybe multidimensional beings.
Yeah. So, and again, like the embodiment of conscious awareness is what will awaken your ability to become consciously aware on multiple dimensions, whether that's a dream time, whether that's even life after death, and your ability to navigate other dimensional timelines, like, for example, astral travel. Or in this present moment, if you're connecting to entities and other beings, of course you're moving in and out of dimensions. That's how you activate the ability to connect to other aspects of consciousness. So this is a constant training. So as you work more to come into your higher self, you are training yourself to really connect and navigate those dimensional timelines. And based on my personal experience, awareness and presence is the most powerful way to get to that point. Once you are constantly practicing that presence, that awareness, you become aware of everything that's real and everything that's not real. And because we are ultimately creating everything that we're experiencing. And that being said, the soul journey, the whole purpose of that soul journey is to heal, to integrate, to come into that perfect balance. So whatever experiences it needs throughout your life in order to come into that perfect balance and health, it's going to take that. And it's up to you how you reach that ultimate self. But all those experiences are parts and invitations to come into this higher expression of yourself, which is based on your perception, your belief, again. So it's a really beautiful journey, and I invite everyone, especially this month, to take a moment to find that silence, to find that peace, to come back to presence and connect with yourself. Go ahead and practice what you preach. A lot of us that are listening to this show, we've been listening to these things for a long time. So once and for all, we have all the information. It's just a matter of us applying what we know, and you will learn much more through that simple application than you will from listening to hundreds of hours of other people speaking. That's for sure.
We've only got you for about another 2 minutes here. I know you've had a lot of exciting times so far in the first 7 months of this year, now in month number 8. How's the rest of your year looking for appearances and maybe more work on documentaries?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Well, just so that you know, Extraordinary Deceding is finally going to be out in September 3rd, so please look for that and check it out. It's a documentary on the hybridization program. It's very close to me and everything that I have experienced, and it's basically an award-winning film. We've already won, I think it's 13 awards for the film, so it's very well received and very well done. It's going to be out on all major platforms September 3rd, so do check that out. I'm going to be speaking at Alien Snowfest, and that's in Big Bear in January, so do check that out, and UFO MegaCon in February, so I will see you there.
I will see you there as well.
All right, I'm so excited. That's great. So everybody come check us out. Maybe we can do a little live feed from there at some point and connect with you guys. But it's going to be so much fun. Yeah.
Can you do me a favor though? This time, make sure you don't miss my speech.
Oh my gosh, I didn't miss your speech last time.
I thought you did.
I came in a little bit late. I came in a little bit late, but I saw the whole rest of that, Dave. You were amazing. Of course, I remember
you were
that.
amazing. I watched yours. You were amazing. You know what? I'm going to say this as we are about to time out here. I am so glad that you are a good friend of this show and a good friend personally of mine. Absolutely think the world out of you. And we will talk to you again in September on the 3rd, which will be the first Tuesday of the month, Geraldine.
My goodness.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio again.
Dave, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure, and I look forward to September. I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon, too. Geraldine Orozco, The Spiritual You. Her websites, BayAreaMeditation.com, GeraldineOrozco.com. Check her on out. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Reminder, if you've missed the majority of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. You can also read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Speaking of Captain Shirk, we're going to get to the news of the night, which of course can be found on our website. Captain Shirk scouring the world today for all the latest in the SOR Newswire. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show. And we're going to start off down in Nevada. Yes. I don't know if you heard this or not. You probably did if you've been keeping up to date with what's happening with the storming Area 51 controversy. Well, there was a Facebook event about the raid on Area 51. And apparently, Facebook mistakenly removed the event. Nobody knows why, but event creator Maddie Roberts received a notice that the event had been removed for violating Facebook's community standards, according to a screenshot he posted over the weekend. A Facebook representative said the removal was a mistake and the page is now available again. More than 2 million people have indicated they will attend the September 20th event called Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. Another 1.4 million have marked that they are interested. The event's description, if you haven't heard, is laid out this way. We will all meet up in rural Nevada and coordinate our parties. If we Naruto run, we can run faster than their bullets. Let's see them aliens. Yeah, well, the U.S. Air Force, as you know, strongly advised against storming Area 51, telling the public that it always stands ready to protect America and its assets. You know, here's the thing. I've read a lot of these reports, and outside of the Facebook representative given the one-liner saying it was a mistake and the page is now up, why did nobody report why Facebook did this? How did this error occur? Now, I'm not trying to get too conspiratorial here, but were they asked to remove it by the military? Were they asked to remove it by the government? Did it get enough complaints that it didn't meet the community standards after more than 3 million people clicked on interested or going? It makes no sense. These are the questions that need to be asked. It's like we're only skimming the top of the story. There's a big story here as to why this happened. Now, many of you may say, oh, you know, Facebook just made a boo-boo. They deleted it. They put it back up. No harm, no foul. But why did it get deleted? This is what I would like to know. I think Facebook has a little bit more to answer to this. Or was it, you know, some hipster with horn-rimmed glasses and a beard that shows he's never been able to change oil in his car before manually? Was it somebody like that who said, oh, this event sucks, you know, it's not going to happen anyways, let's just pull it? That's what I think happened. But either way, it's kind of rude, kind of weird, and I think there's something more to that story I would like to know. Let's head over to Loch Ness. A boat skipper captured a sonar image of something large lurking in the depths of the world-famous loch. 24-year-old Mike Bell had been taking a group of tourists on the water back in June when he picked up the anomalous object approximately 115 feet below the water surface. When he circled around to scan the same spot again, the object had completely disappeared. He says, I would like to think it's our creature Nessie. It's my first year being the skipper in the boat. In 5 months, I've never seen it or had something that big on sonar. An object of that size, I would think, is way too big for the normal species in the loch. It must have been about 5 or 6 minutes we spent trying to pick up this creature again. This year is turning out to be one of the best for Loch Ness Monster sightings, with 8 reported so far. Now, Mr. Bell goes on to say, my dad is the more experienced skipper who has been doing this for a few years, and he has said he's never seen it that big before on sonar. It's my first sighting of Nessie, and I think my dad is a wee bit jealous as he's never seen it. I'd like to see a photo of that. Did they take a photo of it? How do we know it wasn't a log moving in the current? I mean, he only spent 5-6 minutes looking for it. I mean, this isn't a Bic lighter if you're looking to light a cigarette. You just look for 5-6 minutes and then you quickly rummage through every drawer trying to find something else to light your smoke with, or heaven forbid you got to use the element on the stove. For those who still smoke. Don't try that with vapes. Doesn't work very well. But either way, if you see something like that is catching you off guard and it's like 25 feet long, okay, and it's 115 feet below the surface, you may want to follow it more than just a bad pickup line. All right? Honestly. I want to believe in Nessie. I think it's a sturgeon, personally. I want to believe. I can't believe if you're only spending 5 or 6 minutes. Like if your child, I wouldn't want to be this guy's child, because if the child goes missing, well, officer, I can't find my kid. Well, how long did you spend looking for the child? Oh, 5-6 minutes before we called you. 5-6 minutes. And he's already calling it the Loch Ness Monster. Don't get it. I bet you he didn't even take a picture of the sonar. I'd like to see it if he did. I doubt he did, because he only spent 5 or 6 minutes and already proclaimed 115 feet down on a bunch of digital squares that, yep, that's Nessie. I know. I just broke the woo there. Twitter crowd's going to be disappointed. Hashtag Spaced Out Radio. All right, let's move on. Thousands of indestructible tardigrades could be now living on the moon's surface after crashing up there off a ship. Yeah. When Israel's private lunar lander Bereshit crashed on the lunar surface, it was carrying a box full of tardigrades, microscopic creatures that are the only known living thing capable of surviving the extreme vacuum of outer space. Now, the tardigrades were part of a lunar library from the Spivaks Foundation. The package was about the size of a DVD and contained human DNA, as well as 30 million pages of information on mankind's knowledge. Sorry, we're in Canada. Peoplekind's knowledge, and thousands of dehydrated tardigrades. Tardigrades are known as one of the toughest creatures on Earth. They are microscopic, measuring very, very small, like not even a quarter size of your pinky nail on your hand. One tardigrade is known to have survived being frozen for 30 years. They can also live without water for up to a decade by shriveling up and placing themselves in a state of suspended animation. A trait DARPA is currently studying in hope of preserving soldiers injured on the battlefield. Arch Mission Foundation is a nonprofit that wants to develop backup planet of Earth by preserving the knowledge and biology of our planet in a solar system-wide project called the Billion Year Archive. Interesting. Yeah. Its lunar library was placed on board Israel's Bereshit lunar landing, which was the first privately funded mission to the moon. The spacecraft took off February 22nd, and it attempted to land on the lunar surface of April 11th. The mission was a failure, however, with the spacecraft crashing down after a gyroscope failed during the braking procedure. Tardigrades. We have living organisms officially on the moon. Let's head over to West Pittston, Pennsylvania, where police say someone swapped their old wood chipper for the town's new wood chipper. Police said that this happened over the weekend. They even posted photos of it on Monday of the wood chipper that was left behind at the Public Works Department. Police say someone dropped it off and stole the new one. Police in Luzerne County community want to know if anyone can identify who owned the chipper that was left in the Public Works lot. You break into the city compound to steal a wood chipper. And then you leave an old one. What's wrong with the old one? That's what I want to know. Is it not working anymore? Did you clean it out? Does it need an oil change? What's going on there? Sad news, as former Nobel Prize winner for literature, Toni Morrison, passed away. She used to say this, and she wrote this: "We die, that may be the meaning of life, but we do language. That may be the measure of our lives." Leave it to Morrison to always find the right words, even from beyond the grave. Morrison's, whose award-winning books included Beloved, Sula, and Song of Solomon, as well as children's books children's books and essay collections, died at a New York hospital earlier this week following a short illness. She was 88 years old. The literary giant's passing was announced by her publisher, Alfred A. Knopf, this morning, and a spokesperson identified the cause of death as complications stemming from pneumonia. Her legacy is made, Spencer Crew, interim director of the National Museum of African American History and Culture, tells the media. It doesn't have to be bolstered or created or made stronger. Lauded for her lyrical writing style and unflinching depictions of the African American experience, the Nobel laureate, Pulitzer Prize winner, and Medal of Freedom recipient created such memorable characters as Pecola Breedlove, a self-loathing 11-year-old who believes the only cure for her ugliness is blue eyes, Seth, a woman who escaped slavery but is haunted by the specter of her young daughter, whom she killed because she decided death was far better fate than life in bondage, and Macon Milkman Dead 3, or the third, a privileged, alienated young man who embarks on a journey of self-discovery in rural Pennsylvania. Let's move on here. In Japan, an electronics manufacturer, NEC Corporation, unveiled a prototype flying car that stayed in the air for almost 1 minute during testing. About the size of an auto rickshaw and equipped with 4 horizontal propellers, the drone-like prototype reached a height of 3 meters or 10 feet. During its test, the flying car is designed to make deliveries on unmanned flights, NEC officials said. The Japanese government aims to start commercializing flying vehicles from around 2023, beginning with the transport of goods and expanding to moving people closer by 2030. A man in Vero Beach who thought he was 140 miles away in Tampa has told a Florida deputy he smoked THC to get himself ready because Jesus was returning. Carlos Guillen, 23 years old, was jailed on a DUI charge after Indian River County Sheriff deputies were called back on July 27th to Vero Beach outlets west on Interstate 95. Investigators reported a man, later identified as Guillen, was in the driver's seat of a parked vehicle. The interior smelled like booze. A half a bottle of Hennessy cognac was in the passenger seat, and a cup that looked to contain the alcohol beverage in the cup holder. Asked for his driver's license, Guillen was handed over a vape pen that he said contained THC, the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. Deputies said Guillen smelled of alcohol. He also said he was in Tampa, the county seat of Hillsborough County of Florida's west coast. The deputy said, I asked Guillen if he was enjoying Tampa and where he was staying. Guillen pointed south of the outlet mall and advised he was at a church convention approximately 4 miles in that direction. Well, apparently he wasn't. He failed a sobriety test, and yeah, he also got arrested for not having his Hennessy bottle in a seatbelt in the passenger seat. And finally, this is kind of cool. Astronomers have found evidence of one of the oldest stars in the universe, a star that lived 13.5 billion years ago, nestled inside a star that's nearly as old. Located 35,000 light years from Earth, the younger star, known as SMSSJ 160540.18-144323.1, yeah, that's the name, formed after the older star exploded into a supernova. Now, hold on a second here. Who is making up these names? I'm going to make that a thought of the day next. Who is making up these names? Cool, they found the star. But that name, ridiculous. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as followed. It was hot outside today. What do you do to stay cool and refreshed? Let's head over to Twitter and start with Goddess Michelle. I drink lots of water. I also use a cooling towel to help. Since I care for the elderly, I work in a warm environment to begin with. I just try to get by. Julie likes popsicles. Rahonda, down in Arizona, She likes to sit in front of a fan drinking a cold beverage. Taro, I go to work and I contemplate global warming, wondering why we need 6 new icebreakers in Canada when the ice in the Arctic is melting at an astonishing rate. Barther, I stay indoors and watch the tiny 65-year-old guy I hired to cut my grass and sweat it out for $40 an hour. UFO Hunter, today I floated down the Old Man River on a tube under the tallest train trestle, mooed at some cows on the river, and off into the yonder until I had to phone to get a ride back to the city. I am currently sunburnt as anything. Oh, and I had a beer. So jealous of that. K28, walk along the beach of the Pacific Ocean during my lunch break. Buslane, I drink hot coffee. Sounds like Everett. Jen, go ride 25 miles of gravel when it's 97 degrees. Oh, wait, that's the opposite. Come home, drink a lot of water, cold shower, and pass out. Normally. Tom from MUFON. Cold G2 Gatorade. My favorite is the green one. Aliens, that's why. Graham, Dave, my good friend, I flick on the air fan and fill my glass with ice and fill up with a Pepsi or Coke or Diet Coke and write my novels and draw the fantastic galactic adventures. Joe, I stay cool just because R. Keith Andrews answered a question of mine stating the rules of thermodynamics, and it was wrong. I now think of all the time I wasted feeling the heat was unbearable. Mike, AC, and I got a swimming pool. Damn you, Mike. Rebecca, I like to float in the ocean. Too many sharks, Rebecca. Way too many sharks. Jennifer, I stayed inside. Good choice. Uhura, water, water, water. Agua, agua, agua. Let's head over to Facebook. Let's see who's there. William, leave Texas. It's hot. St. Nicholas, I put a bunch of spare t-shirts in the freezer and rotate as needed. That's actually kind of cool. Gail, I sit in my air-conditioned apartment, drink sparkling water, and I listen to a lot of Rob Zombie because I love him. Very nice, Gail. Thank you for sharing. Sparky, I run my whole house fan early in the morning and in the evening. Usually don't use the air conditioner until late in the afternoon and then turn on all the ceiling fans. It all helps except when it gets into the hundreds, then it becomes more of a challenge. You know what you do is you take your fan and you take the blowing side that would be blowing at you and you blow it out the window because it's sucking out all the hot air from your house and blowing it outside. That's what I do to cool down my house. Hey, big thank you to everybody who participated in the Thought of the Day today on Twitter as well as on Facebook. We'll do it all again tomorrow night because we're going to have a lot of fun. Big thank you to Captain Shirk for putting the SOR Newswire together. Of course, you can find all of our news at spacedoutradio.com. Also want to thank Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California for coming on The Spiritual You. Geraldine joins us the first Tuesday of every month. She will be back on September 3rd. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms, on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, Rev Radio's chat room, the SOR Space Travelers on Facebook, and on Spreaker, wherever you may be catching us. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Thank you so much once again for sharing your evening. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor.
We're watching.
We need you to take us home. Have a good night, everyone. See ya.